Hello and welcome from Nałęczów in eastern Poland. This is the Spa Park, and today I'm going to talk about a little bit more about the subject of borders opening, and looked at what's happening here in Europe anyway, and many of the borders now are opening. Some borders are completely opening, and 5-6 weeks ago I published I did the video 5-6 weeks ago about Czechia might be closed for a year. That was based on what the Prime Minister of that country said. Well, now it has open borders, for example, with Germany, and they've been now open for a number of days. So that didn't come about. Now, there's one thing that many countries are doing. For example, Austria, I think, was possibly the first one to start doing this. It would give you a COVID test at the border. So if you landed in Vienna Airport, you could get your test for COVID, and if you passed it, then you'd be allowed in. So you had to hang around for 3 hours for it to turn up, and presumably if you failed it, I don't know what they did with you, put you in quarantine somewhere, so you wouldn't want to actually book a 16-day holiday, as you've got to be 2 weeks in quarantine there. A number of countries are now offering that people can come to the country openly. Now, when I say openly, I mean without the quarantine period, because in theory, I think you can go just about anywhere as long as you submit yourself to quarantine. Now, anyway, I think I'm not certain of that. I mean, to come here to Poland, you've got to be either Polish or have a residence permit, and then you have to submit yourself to quarantine. So I'm talking here about freely coming into countries. Now, the countries are offering people with certificates that they had the test, and the test has to be no more than 3 or 4 days old, depending on the country. Now, presumably you didn't have contact with anyone in those 3 or 4 days to catch it after then, and then you can go there. Now, this occurred to me. I had this idea, is that I'm sure one of you, or two of you, or some of you could actually take this idea up. Is I had a look how much these COVID tests actually cost. I mean, to buy them from the manufacturer. I found one manufacturing company in the United Kingdom offers 100 tests, and it was, I think, £495. So let's say £10 a test. So what you could do is you could go somewhere, like for example Dover or somewhere like that, where there's a lot, it's a real funnel, a bottleneck there of people going through. You at the port, and you find somewhere to park. That might be the hardest part of this entire plan, and then you give people COVID tests. Well, actually, the French government isn't one of those which said they'd do it, but you find bottlenecks in other places. I mean, if like Mexico, United States, if Mexico were to say it, then I've seen films of the border at Tijuana and San Diego, huge queues. Well, that's just the sort of thing you want. And so you charge people, for example, something like, have a reasonable markup, £35, something like that, 25, charge £35, £25 markup. And what you could do is you could get your motorhome and sort of make it look as though it's a clinic or something. And so if you get your other half to dress up as a doctor or a nurse or something, I had this idea. I was talking to a former girlfriend of mine who is a nurse, and she knows how to do it. So we could just do this. Then you give people tests, and I'm sure the customs would just say, "Hey, you haven't got your test, and go over there and get it done." And because of the way it's this idea, I'm sure that it would get plenty of publicity. Anyway, so there's a business idea. I'm not going to do it, but it did occur to me. So, before you go anywhere, do check that the country is open. This country here, Poland, isn't, but many of the Schengen countries will be opening in June. I am really hoping this will open up, because I want to go to Germany next month. Of course, I can leave. I'm not actually imprisoned or anything. But anyway, thanks for watching, and all the best from Nałęczów, Poland.